Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.arganissima.com. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our...
Folks, welcome back to iHealth Radio, the Sales World channel, and the iHealth channel, a lot of channels. Today, we're going to be talking about motivation and success. And my guest of honor today, literally, is, first of all, it's an honor and pleasure to have on the show because, first of all, he does have his own show. So as you can see on the logo behind, in a minute, you'll see it. And that's his actual niche. And you can go in there and check out, his shows as well as his discussions and topics. But he's got a very, very, very powerful and diversified background. He's an executive coach, trainer. He did a lot of things in his life in business. He does a lot of seminars, he speaks, publicly, and he motivates people. And today we want to motivate you. So listeners, viewers, this is a great opportunity to hear from Scott Schilling himself. And, we will learn a lot today. That's all I have to say. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's always an honor and a pleasure to share. I love talking to audiences and doing everything we can to give them a nugget or two here and there.
Well, listen, this world we live in, as you and I were just alluded a minute ago, it's crazy, and we want people to really adjust well, and just, there's plenty of positive stuff that can come out here, and we just want people to get pumped and motivated in their world, business or personal, and just to get them to success. And really, I think that's a big area of discussion. But before we go anywhere, I want just to, for our audiences here, to get to know you a little bit more. I mean, I kind of did a brief intro, and again, it's never justice to my guests. So you do the best you can here and give me a little bit of who is Scott and your background. And I know it's great because I've read it, but I want you to tell us about it and tell the audiences.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. I mean, again, a great opportunity. I was born a small child. Not even true. I was not ever a small child. So I was came right out selling from the beginning. Literally, I got a story in one of my books of walking up and down the aisles of an Amtrak train between Milwaukee, Wisconsin and Los Angeles, yelling, "Tickets, tickets, who needs tickets?" People would say, I do. And I'd scribble on a pad of paper, give it to them, and then they'd hand me change. By the time we got to LA, I had $52 in change. I was 5 years old. So I was selling tickets to people on the train they were already on. So I was destined for sales from the beginning. Was very fortunate, went off to the University of Iowa to not only go to school, but to play Big Ten football for Coach Hayden Fry. But I also became a licensed life insurance agent at age 18. Did that because at the time, there were no jobs coming out of school. And so what was going to make me different? I was going to get a Bachelor of Business Administration degree. I was going to come through the business school, probably marketing, and I ended up with a double major in marketing and insurance. But what was going to make me different than the myriad of people that were coming out with the same degree? Personal face-to-face presentation ability. So I became a life insurance agent so that I learned how to communicate from the beginning. Well, fortunately, that gave me 7 offers when most people had none. Very blessed. Went into the corporate route because my dad worked for the same company for 46 years, from the time he was 17 till he was 63 when he retired. That's the model I saw. Did that for 13 and a half years, very successfully. And I know you find this hard to believe, but corporate America changed. And some of the changes that they were wanting to ask me, they had every right to ask if I worked for them. I had to be true to myself, and I couldn't continue to work for them with what they had requested. That was just my personal opinion. Went out on my own, consulted, got absorbed by one of my clients. We successfully pioneered that. Went out on my own again, got absorbed by one of my clients. It's a habit I have, and going back and forth. And back 22, 3, 4 years ago, I made the decision that I wanted to impact and serve more people better. So I took the sales training that I had done, the being in front of the room and all that was very natural to me, and sought out to become a professional speaker, and got trained up and did all that, and been very blessed to do probably 2,500 to 3,000 live events, selling millions of dollars from the stage to people I haven't met before in an hour or less. So, just it's been a path of progressing and using the talents and capabilities that God's granted me to make the biggest, best positive impacts I could make. And I prefer to be called an inspirational speaker as opposed to motivation. Motivation is an outside-in activity. It tends to only last as long as the motivator is there, where inspiration is an inside-out activity, and I can be inspired to continue with or without anything else if I have a great enough why. So we can talk about that today and all sorts of other things.
Wow. I'm I got to take a deep breath here. There's so much going on in that first 5 minutes that we just covered here, that you covered. Well, first of all, you are, an inspiration and a motivation. So both, I think.
It's all good.
And actually I've never had someone who actually broke it down that way. To the audiences, it sounds almost the same, but you're right. There's two different distinct, operations happening there. And I think we will definitely, get into that discussion deeper and
Sure.
about the concept of motivation and inspiration. But you, from the get-go, from your childhood, I'm assuming that's a true story, because I think you did it, and listen, 5-year-old comes to me and says, I'll buy it again anyways, because it just, the drive that you had at that point, and that's something that's very unique. Not everybody has that. And you found that from day one. That was your personality, and you just, obviously evolved that in terms of going to college, and even through college, you did well. You did baseball stuff, you figured out the right majors. And you're right. The business world, the corporate world, is very competitive, or at least, at the time, and it still is, today.
Yeah.
It just shifted a lot. With the technology now, it's a little different. But you're right. It kind of changed over the years. But there was a time where it was very difficult to get in, land the right job, and have the right, career path. And you said your dad worked for 46 years. That's pretty much what people used to do. You get into a job and you grow up in that job until you retire from that job. And that's it. One company, and that's how it went. But I think younger generations, eventually they discovered that's not, that just was the conditioning, of corporate America. Right. And that was removed. And with the technology, things have happened. And you had a talent. And by the way, I relate to your talent, because I am literally a DNA salesperson as well. I've done, out of my 30 years in the world in terms of business, most of it is in sales and interacting with people. My first job was a tour guide, so you can talk a lot. Yep. And then I took that to the next stage, and my major is in sales and marketing, similar concept, but in hospitality. But so it just something that, it's different. Not everybody can do what we do. And you took it to the next level. Public speaking and taking it to training and stuff like that. I've done some of it similar in the real estate world. And we also are agents of insurance. I actually am into the health world and health accident and things like that. And you're into the live. And as a matter of fact, today we were just talking at work, and I had a discussion. One of our new agents comes from the live world, and I know it's a very tough, business. Live insurance is not easy. Not only you said it, you face to face every day, and you have to sit in that kitchen table and really ask for the sale, ask for the money. And then you sell them something, hey, listen, that they're never going to get,
total intangible.
Yeah. I'm buying stuff and I'm committed to like all the next, few years of my life, and then somebody else is going to benefit from it. It is a tough sale, but it takes a certain type of people to do that and be able to really highlight, what you have to sell. And of course, policies, there's whole term, all those things. And any life insurance person would know about what we discussed right now. But even people, they know. Most of the people have some sort of a life insurance to their work, or maybe they bought it themselves. But it's a tough word. And sales in general, I mean, we have a joke. The most hated people on the planet are lawyers and salespeople, because of how we do. I mean, we have this perception that salespeople are liars and they don't give you the truth because they just want to get your money. And, that's always been a debate, and there's some truth to it, because some type of salespeople, they tend, because they have motivation of money and things like that, and then they just want to make the quick bucks, and they don't believe in good service and delivering to the need of people, and therefore they kind of tarnish the the whole reputation of salesmanship. Now, a true salesperson would never do that. I mean, it's all about what's in it for you, and we'll make sure that we have something. Yes, we can sell, ice to Eskimos, we say, but that's just a joke about it. But the reality is, a true salesperson never sells, only highlights whatever is net, for people. So again, I know your path it was difficult and it's not easy, and you did it. And then you went to the corporate world. You have targets, you have goals, and you have stuff. And then you probably went to the next level of management, and you had teams, and you have to meet budget, and forecasts, and it's all nuts, right? But there's a thrill to it. I might say. I mean, I enjoy that, and we work with targets. We love to have that goal, go after a goal, exceed goal, right? It's not even hit the target, it's really exceed the target. And there's a training that comes with that, coaching. And I think that's part of also what you took to the next level in your phase. And, basically 20 plus years, you've been doing that. You took it.
Selling, everybody's selling every minute of every day. They just may not frame it that way in their head. And so one of the ways that I challenge people, or I expect them to challenge me to prove that, is I ask 3 simple questions. How many of you have ever been on a date? You made a sale. How many of you have ever put a kid to bed? You made a sale. How many of you are married? You're better at this than you think. You are the product. So the reality is that selling is happening every minute of every day. It's simply the exchange of a product, good, or service for an amount of money or its equivalent. In other words, I make a presentation that you now have available to you for consideration. Most people overcomplicate it. It's actually only 4 words: identify problem, provide solution. And so as a sales professional, I don't ever want to sell you anything, but I do always want you to buy a lot from me. Therefore, it's my responsibility to create that environment for you to want what I have. How do I do that? I ask you what you want, what you need, and why you need it. You can tell me 100% of what your problem is and guide me on the path to the solution that I can provide you. So the reality is, I've actually created to try to demystify the selling process with my clients and my students. The Webster's definition is what I gave: the exchange of a product, good, or service for an amount of money or its equivalent. Well, in the holistic disciplines, they don't like looking at the money side. So it's the equivalent. It makes their heart feel good. But I created my heart-centered selling definition of sales: education through communication without manipulation.
Ooh, I love it.
That really reframes us as teachers, teaching the features, advantages, and benefits of our products, goods, and services to fulfill the needs, wants, and desires of our prospects. And while I understand why you said many times people dislike salespeople, I would suggest that they don't dislike salespeople or sales professionals. What they dislike is manipulators. They like people who are doing it for their reasons and for their gain, as opposed to identifying problem, providing solution. Done professionally, selling is actually serving, because I am satisfying a need through the solution that is matched appropriately, which is one of the reasons, quite frankly, I suggest to my students and clients that they become an asset, a 5-letter acronym for a spontaneous servant every time. When you first meet somebody, become a spontaneous servant. The rest will take care of itself. I've spent a career being the hub to other people's spoke. So even though I have my own TV show and my own podcast, I can become the hub to your spoke as a guest. In other words, I can help you serve your desires by becoming a guest. So I truly believe because most people don't need what you have the first time they meet you, but they do need to know somebody you know or something you know, so you can become of service. Again, selling is serving because ultimately what you're doing is satisfying a need and providing a solution. And so when you demystify the process, which hopefully we do some of that here tonight, those who say, well, I'm not a sales guy. Did you ever ask your mom for a cookie and she gave you one? You sold her. I mean, she wouldn't have done it. So the reality is we're all selling. Just reframe it, hold it in your head differently than you have. And really, as opposed to holding it in your head, drop it down and hold it in your heart as a strategic relational process, as opposed to an intellectual or tactical process. And when you do that, I think you'll find great success and a lot of people wanting to give you a lot of money for your solutions.
Scott, yeah, that is really powerful. And I'm listening to you and I just literally relate to that so much, and funny. And I used one of the examples you just said about your child as cookie and stuff, but you're right. And I made this actually in different shows that everyone started selling at a younger age. And you know what? Every kid is probably the best salesperson you can have. They always get what they want and they know how to
scar tissue.
Exactly. So it's amazing to your point. Like I always say this in training, the same thing, oh, I don't know how to do this. You've been doing it, but obviously some of us take it to the next level. I mean, we get into it and You're right. It's demystifying the whole concept of salesmanship, they salesy. We don't have to be salesy. It's about, to your point, is highlighting what that problem is and matching it with a solution. And you're right. Every one of us need to be an expert in our businesses and our, whatever industries to be able to provide solution. I do relate to the idea that if you're an agent of any sort, whether real estate, life insurance, health insurance, you become an expert of all the solutions within that realm. So when you meet a prospect or a group of them, you can share with them. People have to know that you are it. You're the resource for them.
Yep.
And that's the key. If you can, become the go-to for this world, like in your case, let's say at the time life insurance, and you knew it inside out, people need to know, I know the guy. I know Scott. I'm going to call Scott. Scott's going to tell me, if not him, he's going to guide me to the right, to the right direction where I can get my services. And that's really, I actually apply that same concept. You want insurance in the government programs? Call me. I got this. I can get you through any problem. I'm the insurance person. And that's the thing. Whatever your hub is, if you're real estate, people need to go to you because you're it. If you're in mortgages, well, guess what? You become an expert. And it's not about lying and manipulating, as you said, because that's really the weak salesmanship is about manipulating. Oh, I'm going to get them to buy something. That's not how it is, because to the end of the day is that you're going to get a deal. You're going to destroy your reputation. You're going to get less referrals. And the name of the game in sales also, like more customers, more prospects, and definitely a lot of referrals. That's keeping you in the game. And when you do those shortcuts, you only last a little bit and then it's over. You're dead. Yep. People don't see that value. And again, your audiences, like you said it right now, just to the show, your value that you have in your own world. I mean, you're bringing it to a different audience now, and we're going to really take it and enjoy it and share it. Now we know, we know your services as well. It's as simple as that. There is a need in our communities. There's a need in the world to educate people about this.
Well, that's why I come out of the Ziegler camp, especially here in Dallas. And I read See You at the Top when I was 17 years old. And there was a quote in that book that forever changed my life. You can have everything in life you want when you help enough other people get what they want. It was a servant leadership positioning. It was, let me find out how I can be of service to you. And the natural byproduct of serving you is I get everything I want. It becomes where your focus is. Again, the true sales professional is a problem solver, is a servant leader, is somebody who's taking their solution. And quite frankly, let's just say that you've got a problem that they don't have the solution for. A true professional will refer it, will have collaborative relationships with another person, maybe in the industry that does carry that product. and we'll have worked to create a relationship where, hey, if I can't be of service to this person, I still want them to be served. So I trust you to do that with equal or better quality than I would. And then back and forth. And so it really becomes, how do you create a again, that's why, I mean, my show isn't the only show on the air. Your show isn't the only show on the air. Wait a second. Why would you, if you have your own show, why would you go on somebody else's show? Because it's about serving more people. How can you get the message spread further? That, again, I do a lot of home and homes. In other words, I do somebody else's show and then they come on my show. Why do I do that? Well, number one, it's a nice thing to do. It's, you're reciprocating, but that's really what so much of business is reciprocal relationships. And I joke about it, but some of us more mature salespeople, that's code word for older, by the way, we've been around long enough that we still understand how to talk to people, how to reciprocate, how to lift somebody up, even if they're a competitor, how to present your value added offering versus another company's offering, as opposed to beating their offering into the ground, which shows no class, no dignity. And quite frankly, if you're willing to say something bad about them, what do you say about something else? So again, I'm a proud member of the sales profession and the training and speaking professions. I have worked diligently to learn the tips, the techniques, the strategies, the old axiom that it takes 10,000 hours of execution to gain the expertise. I have hundreds of thousands of hours. So shame on me if I haven't gotten decent at it. For a 6-year period, I did 288 talks a year, presentations from stage. But the minute those talks were done, my responsibility was to walk into the front row and move from speaker to closer, to securing the order, which is the way I say it, as opposed to closing a deal. I want to open a relationship. I want to secure an agreement. So I had to go from making the presentation to stepping up to people, just a few feet away and saying, so is there any reason why you wouldn't want to get started right now? And that transition. Well, when you do that enough times, number one, I've heard every objection and every excuse ever created. I'm pretty certain of that. But you also get pretty decent at addressing all those. So again, sales, like anything else, it's a conditioned response to the stimuli that happens. If I ask you a question, I can anticipate your response. Then I can ask another question and back and forth. That's why it's so fun. If you take it out of it being work and you put it into, I'm helping another human being live a greater quality existence, it's tremendously rewarding. So I encourage everybody to get into the profession.
Well, thank you. And I love what you're saying, because I just feel it. I mean, you're talking and it's like giving me goosebumps right now. I'm like feeling this, but really you're right. It's about helping others. And yes, you're going to help yourself by helping others. And there's a noble piece to that. I mean, you're really are serving people, because a lot of times, whoever the salespeople out there, they're the people that are bringing the solutions that you need in your day-to-day life, or something that can help you really change your life, for anything, whether it's technology or things that you even need in your home. I mean, even we go back in the days of vacuum. I mean, you needed a vacuum. Somebody had to present that to you, and it's not easy. I mean, as I'm getting as basic, in terms of sales as, and now you have these platforms of technology, and it's the same thing. You mentioned something big about, the relationship building. and networking. You're right. A true salesperson or a professional salesperson is not about just him or her. It's about their network of relationships and connections, because I might have the right paths for you to get something else. And I go beyond that. I mean, you said very powerful thing about when not decent folks that actually get into this business and kind of give that reputation, they tend to bash out the competition. Oh, they suck. They don't have this. They don't have that. It's not about that. It's about what you have, and it's about you, right? But I do personally, I tell people, listen, if you can help people through our services, because whatever reason, we have competitions that might have a service that we don't have or a product that we don't have. And you know what? We will send them to them. I actually do that. And you know what happens? That customer, that prospect in front of you is looking at you like, really? Yes, I want to help you. Now, guess what? When they go and get the service, they do come back to you next time, or they call somebody else. Like, listen, if you need this, they have it. But if you don't, that person is the best person that they can actually assist you with this. And then you build that credibility, that nice little loyalty and trust factor, and honor system and honesty, which once you have that, your network is getting better and better. And you don't, and it's not negative. It's actually really highlighting the best of the best. And there's no shame in that. There's no loss to that. I mean, if you're losing someone regardless, help them. I give you a good example. I do this in insurance. So I have products that are limited. I have 3 products, let's say, right? And a member, a prospect, we cannot give them any of our products. For whatever reason, we don't have a doctor, we don't have this. But I do have agents that are brokers that sell with other companies. And you know what? I'll say, listen, I have someone that can help you with a product that I think that's going to be beneficial to you. They look at me like, well, they don't work for us, but I know someone. Here's a card. And I call the guy, say, hey, listen, talk to Mrs. Jones. She needs this. I think she'll be better off with your product because we can help her. Nothing. And by the way, as I develop this relation, I have allies now in the competitive market. And you know what? They do the same. You said reciprocity earlier. They just reciprocate to me and they send me that business traffic. It's all good. And we're all helping people and everybody is pleased because we're not forcing them into a product that is not for them. They're very happy. They're not like, this, why did I just buy this?
Well, if you truly serve the need, they'll come back to you over and over and over again. I mean, there are certain absolutes in the whole selling process. One of them being people do business with those they know, like, and trust. If they don't know you, assume they don't trust you, or they don't like you. And if they don't like you, assume they don't trust you, but they have to trust you to buy from you. But that's only the first part. Is you have to develop trust over time, which is one of the, again, some of the, us who have been out here for a while, we know how to create the relationships. We know how to have the conversations, and we're willing to take the time that it takes in advance of building that trust. Where some of the younger generations are, either buy it now or I'm out of here. Well, they don't invest the time. But here's the point, is if you accept the fact that there has to be some level of trust built, basically, if you accept that premise, and the third tenet of this is what's really important. People take action when they're ready, not when you're ready. So if they have trust built with you, but they're not ready, they're not buying from you, but they're not buying from anybody else either. If you try to make them buy right, then you will diminish trust, which they still won't buy. Now they won't like you, and they won't buy when they become ready because you have now broken their trust. But if you haven't developed trust and they're ready, they're buying, but they're not buying from you. They're buying where the trust was built. So you always have to have trust in advance of when they're ready. And that's what many people in compressed time frames, it's quite frankly what a lot of sales managers don't care about, which is wrong. You have to understand there has to be trust there. And if you try to force situations without trust, you may be able to slam one deal down their throat, but they're not a customer at that point. You're not going to get them back. And so, quite frankly, I would rather nurture the relationship over an extended period of time, paying attention to when they're ready, and being able to, because the trust is built, be able to swoop in there the second that they're ready, because I've already built the trust in advance. And that's what many people are not willing to do, because quite frankly, it takes effort. And believe it or not, some people are fairly lazy and they're not willing to do it. But again, how do you get out of that? You get out of that sales laziness by truly liking people. And so because you like people, you'll talk to them anyway, you'll develop the relationship anyway. You don't see that as work necessarily. So now the trust is built. So now when they're ready, they buy. So people say, can sales be this easy? Yes, it absolutely can be done appropriately. The question is, are you willing to do the things that it takes to set the market up, to condition the market in advance, to make yourself the go-to person? That's the reason for being the hub. Come to me for anything. Well, but you don't sell that product. I don't care. I know who does. And I know the best guy who does, or the best girl who does. And I'll give you some good, honest direction. Will you make anything from it? No, other than to strengthen your and my relationship. That's what I'm looking for, relationship capital, right?
And your network. I mean, you served somebody else now.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah.
Exactly. So,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so, the fact is that again, people tend to overcomplicate it. So what I love doing when I go into, whether it be a corporation or a sales force, and I train, again, we do a lot of demystifying this, and throw any concern or any question at me you want, because the reality is there is an appropriate way of addressing it. And the more that you learn that, the sooner you're going to be able to just kind of chill and know that you're there to solve things for them.
Well, Scott, you said something powerful again. I mean, it's all of it is powerful, but I'm just taking a little bit of highlights here and there. One of the things you mentioned something about, you're having that relationship, you build it. It takes time, but like everything else in life, right? You got to build a relationship. Nothing happens overnight. It takes time to get anything that is worth having, right? A good dish is not prepared quick. I mean, you take your time, right? So like everything else, relationship specifically is something that you build over time. But you said the keyword customers, meaning that they're recurring customers. They come into you back and forth. Whenever they need it, they come back. And then you added the idea of that, I may not have the solution, but I know who does. And I can relate to that in the realm of insurance, in the realm of, let's say real estate is a big one of that. I mean, a good, a real estate salesperson would have, the appraisals, connections. They have the mortgage connections. They have the lawyers connections. They have a whole network of service providers. So when you're there, you're not lost. First of all, they do establish that relationship over time. And, people don't just buy, properties all the time. You buy them every 10 years or whatever, if you move in, or sometimes longer. So you want to keep that customer recurring. Every time they want to sell or buy, they come to you. But to do that, it takes time. And sometimes it takes more than a year or so before you can even get them into a property, right?
Exactly.
Health insurance is the same thing. They don't need it all the time. They might need it now. They might not even need it themselves. They might need it for their parents, their friends, their family. It doesn't matter. The problem, I think, to your point, the newer generation, they're lost into, there's targets. I need to get this. And yes, there's targets in sales. Sales is all about, I guess in business, you have goals, you have forecasts, right? But it's a number game in a way, but it's actually a helping game more than a number game. The more you help people, the more you're going to serve, your targets and everything. You exceed them even by helping. You see, like I wake up and I tell people in trainings, when you wake up in the morning, how many people I'm going to serve today? How many people I'm going to help today? That's it. I know every day, like how many more I'm going to help. And
that part's very astute. If you were to take, if you help somebody and that average case is $10,000 in volume, as opposed to looking at the volume, I need $100,000 in volume. Look at it as, how many people do I have to help to get $100,000. So I've got to help 10 people today or this week or this month or whatever that. So you very astute in what you were saying there is take, and instead of assigning it to the dollar value, assign it to the people value. You know, how many people that you have to enhance their lives to accomplish that. There's a psychology, there's a physiology within the body. It's in the subconscious. It's all sorts of different places. When you get into that heart space, as opposed to the tactical, again, just the pure numbers, right? It's amazing what happens, and your whole body, you have more fun, your constitution, you know, I mean, all of it's much better. It's amazing.
It is, and again, just for the audiences, you know, and probably sales professionals, you know, don't make the numbers your key player, as you said. It will happen. It's just the strategy that you have to have is to have more relationship building, more, you know, customers building, and believe me, they'll do the work for you. I mean, I've seen it, successful folks. You know, when I was selling, you know, I mean, I've been managing and leading for years, but prior to that, when I was just a straight, you know, representative and agent, I had relationships that were calling me all the time. Hey, I need your help. Even today, I still get people calling me because they know I know the resource, and they say, can you help me with this one? And then I'll put them in. If it's not through my company, I'll send them to another company. I have links all over, right? And sometimes you send them to services that are not even related to you. And even in the business world, in the corporate, you know, chain, you know, different companies, different resources, and we work together. And yes, today, and by the way, as long as you're in the professional world, in the corporate world, you're probably going to bounce around and you're going to be in, you know, today on this side, you're on the other side. So be careful how you play things.
Well, they're going
to hurt you badly.
That's right. Treat people with dignity, honor, and respect.
Yeah. And you know, amazingly, you said something also about the practice that you've had over the years, and it's not, the years obviously do give you that traction, but it's really what you put into it, you know, and the practice you did. I mean, you can be in this business forever and still be bad at it, because if you're not really picking up the right, you know, speed and right frequencies and right, you know, techniques and strategies and so, and you're right, you're gonna come across objections, and you're gonna know how to handle all those objections. But you know, sometimes you're not gonna solve everybody's problem.
No.
And you know what? You guide them towards where they can get their service. They're still gonna appreciate you. And that's the thing. Because I am worried so much, some of these folks, they are worried about today. I just need a sale today. They're not even thinking about, if you don't have a sale today, it's okay, but it is a future sale. You're still going to need sales later. You're still going to need to actually meet your target if that's what you're going after. But at the end of the day, don't worry about it. If I have a relationship with you and you're happy, to your point, I don't piss you off. You do want to come back. And you know what? When you're going to make that call, now I'm going to make that decision. You come back to me. You know, one of the worst scenarios, and I've seen it more in the car salesmanship, and, you know, nothing against it, but I've seen some good and bad practices there. And, you know, the right practice is they make you feel like you want to come back.
Yep.
They follow up with you. They take care of you. They remember you. I have an awesome guy who's my realtor, right? He sends me Yankee cards, you know, and calendars and things like that every year. You know, he knows, you know, he sends, hey, you know, he checks with me. He doesn't have to do that. He sold me the house. That's it. I'm out. But he keeps doing that, and I appreciate him. We're friends on social media. We actually, you know, meet sometimes, you know, here and there. But the idea is that relationship is building. I might need him too. Yep. He might need me sometimes for insurance. You never know. That's the thing. Sometimes that same customer you have may have a service that you will need in your life. How many times you sell someone something, but they work in a place, or they own a business that you might need something from. And now you build that relationship. You might have a family member that needs a service or solution, but now you have a network. Your customers are your network too. You know, it's helping. You know, if you see everybody as part of connected, things become a lot easier. Absolutely. And it's all about practicing and being, you know, and you said something very you know, important. You did the pitch. A lot of people are good at that. A lot of people can pitch, but get into that, not closing, but to build that final element, you know, that really the connection that's going to continue with that. People are afraid of that. Some people are afraid. Some people are afraid because they're going to get some rejections and not going to get it. But you said it. You don't have to have all. I mean, you're right. You do a public speaking in front of 1,000 people, and you stand on the line and you talk to people. You may get 1% of that. But the other 1,000 or the other 99%, they're still good with you. Next time, whenever they need something, they're going to remember, hey, let me call Scott. I love his presentation. I think he's going to be the one helping me today. It may be a month later, a year later, even 10 years later, you probably get a lead that you probably didn't forget about. And that's really the true business that we're in. And it's really, you said it, you don't have to work this. It happens automatically if you're good at it. And if you base the stuff, build credibility, build that trust, and you're not rushing people, you're not forcing people into something. You see that a lot in retail. You walk into a store and they're just all over you.
For sure.
Dude, just back off. I mean, and the right ones that come to you, my name is John, I'll be right here. If you need any help, let me know. Is there anything specific? No, thank you. They walk away, they chill, and they just observe. And as soon as you're ready for them, they'll be there. But they wait for you. When you're ready, they're ready. And so, but they establish a relationship and you trust them as opposed to someone who's hovering all over you. And I'm giving some different examples from different industries, but more things that people can relate to daily. And it's really big. This is the reality we see. We've seen them in movies. We've seen them in real life. You go to the mall, that happens. Everybody goes to the mall, and it's amazing. So Scott, I mean, I think we've established a lot of the sales world here, but now let's talk about what you mentioned earlier, motivational or motivator. And inspirational. Inspiration versus motivation. Those are two powerful words, and they both can help people. But you said something very, very strong there, and I'd like you to, if you don't mind, expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, again, I think most people have heard, that many times people become motivational speakers, and there's nothing wrong with a motivational speaker. Don't get me wrong. But it's the overall, again, I tend to look at things a little differently. And so motivation by definition is an outside in activity, meaning there's a stimuli of some sort that's been created. Maybe it's a $100 bonus if you make this sale. Well, that's a motivator if you're after a $100 bill, right? But it only tends to motivate you to make the sale for that product as long as you get the extra $100. As soon as that $100 spiff goes away, you stop selling that product. So have you really accomplished anything? Whereas if you are inspired to be the salesman of the month or something like that, and that gets you not only that $100 a unit, but gets you this and this and this, and the recognition of your peers, and your picture on the wall, and your this and that. There's now something internal to you. You get a fire burning, and that fire burns no matter what, and it inspires you. Enthusiasm comes from the Greek entheos, in God's spirit. So you have this spirit within you that is enthusiastic, is inspired to come and make a difference or to do whatever. So again, I'd rather be an inspirational speaker that shares with you some ideas as to how you can get that fire burning in your own belly, so that whether somebody's, poking you in the back or putting a $100 bill out there, you're going to go after it no matter what, because it's something that you're so excited about it. It wakes you up in the morning. It keeps you awake at night. There's a reason for it, right? Personally, I want to, make as big a positive impact on as many people as I possibly can with the talents and capabilities I've been granted. And that keeps a burning. This is my fourth show today. One of them was mine, and I've been on 3 other shows today, which is awesome. I mean, it's been a fun day, but at the same time, it's been a long day, right? I mean, but I'm inspired to continue to share because I truly believe that there's something that somebody's going to grab. I don't get caught in what it is. There's not like a specific nugget I'm trying to throw out here, or that I'm attached to whether this concept lands or not. But what I do have is a high intention of imparting something great for everybody listening here tonight. Now, what that specific thing is up to you. But my desire is to provide enough content and value that there's at least one nugget specifically for everybody. And hopefully a whole lot more than that, that they walk away from this and go, damn, I need to think about that. That was pretty awesome. So again, inspiration is that ability to keep that fire burning no matter what. And it's why so many people, Simon Sinek did, find your why, right? Why are you doing this? You'll go for the why. One of the ways that I say it is when you got a big enough what and a strong enough why, the how shows up. The how to do it shows up. Most people are asking the wrong question out there. How do I accomplish this? How do I make more money? How? Wrong question. What do you want to accomplish it? What do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to accomplish it? If you're very clear on the what and the why, the how to accomplish it will show up. So again, those are all pieces of inspiration. What do I want to do? I want to positively impact 1 billion lives on this planet. Why? Because I believe God has granted me the talents and capabilities to accomplish that and much, much more. And I feel very fulfilled when something I say makes something smile and they go, oh, thank you. Or when it makes a difference, it makes my heart go pitter pat. I mean, it really does. I love when I get a call or a card or an email or something that says, hey, I just want you to know that training that you gave us 3 months ago helped me to close the biggest deal of my career. I just wanted to say thanks. That feels great. So again, when you got a big enough what and a strong enough why, that how to accomplish it shows up, and you can now follow that path. And again, I personally believe it's much easier to do that being inspired than being motivated.
Scott, I mean, there is definitely a thank you here. And I think a lot of nuggets right now are being shared with people. There's a whole menu of them, it's whole buffet. The stuff that you're giving us today is so rich. I think people watching or listening, there's no way they're not going to take even one, as you said, is very powerful to apply. And you said it, the what, the how, the why, and then the how. There's a will, there's a way. You have to know why, you want to do things, and there is a reason behind it. And then you said it very lovely. It's that fulfillment, that fulfilling feeling that you have when it's, that someone is benefited. And I know that. I know that. Just the fact that I'm listening to you, I'm getting fulfilled right now. Believe me. And I do this also too. But you're right. It's you always learn. You always get that extra stuff. It keeps you going. And everyone watching and listening, this will give them goosebumps because. And by the way, you don't have to be a salesperson to have this. This isn't everything. just to keep an opener, a wider, type of context here. This is for everyone. You find the inspiration in anything that you want in life, you pursue it with the right conviction and the right intent, and everything will come in play. And that's the other thing. Everything happens when it manifests, but you have to have the drive behind it.
Well, what just came to me intuitively, and I have no idea why but what just came to me was the Kansas City Buffalo football game a couple weeks ago. Those weren't motivated teams. Those were inspired teams. Those were teams that were willing to go past physical boundaries, accomplish things that had never been accomplished. 25 points in 2 minutes in a game. Mahomes passing for 340 yards in the last 2.5 minutes. Come on. Seriously? That's inspired. Nobody had to go out there and say, hey boys, go make this happen. Right? They were there and both sides were. one of the most incredible games I've ever seen, quite frankly, maybe the most incredible game I've ever seen. Just watching people truly inspired to pick each other up. If somebody dropped a ball, somebody was there to lift up their teammate. Again, not pound on them and go, hey, dummy, you need to grab this, and motivate them. It was, come on, brother, we're in this together. Just think how we're going to feel when we do this, right? And so, again, the whole point on motivation and inspiration goes all the way through life. And I say it this way, I can teach a lot of different things, but the one thing I can't teach is want to. You got to want to be successful. You got to want to solve a problem. You got to want to take care of people. If you got want to, the how to can be learned and taught. And so again, I think that that's kind of where the inspiration piece, that inspiration is want to. We're in a time in our world right now where hopefully people want to recognize other people's differences as a positive and say, hey, what can I learn from cultural diversity? What can I learn from, different ethnicities? What can I learn from what's gone on in the past? Not try to change the past. The past is the past. This revisionist history stuff doesn't make any sense, because if we don't look at history, we're doomed to repeat it. So we've got to have a baseline, a marker. That being said, it can also be the springboard to greatness. It can be the springboard to people coming together. You and I have just met, and yet we can have a wonderful conversation that hopefully serves so many different people because of this, because of a desire to make a positive impact. So whatever, again, whether you're in the insurance industry on health, and I started my career in life, those are, that's cool. But the reality is, yes, those are differences that we recognize, but I can honor you for yours and you can honor me for mine. That goes way outside our jobs. That goes way outside our titles. Like it comes down to the human difference. It's quite frankly one of the greatest statements I ever heard Ben Carson make was, I'm a brain surgeon. And when I remove the top of somebody's head, all the brains look the same. They're all the same color. They're all basically the same shape and size. It says that's humanity. And again, not to get too deep into this, but you understand how really all of this works in concert together. If we're identifying a problem, providing a solution, that's not just but with products. That's with what's going on in the world. That's with all of this. But I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like the fact that I like inspiration. You might like motivation. Your choice. That's cool. Mm-hmm. I'm just offering something up for consideration. Well, that's ultimately what the world is right now. That we should be offering up points for consideration. We shouldn't be offering up points that get condemned before they're even out of somebody's mouth. And so this goes, again, why do you do shows like this? You do shows like this to serve somebody, to hopefully prove to somebody that people are willing to help each other. And we get enough of that going. It's amazing what we can do.
Listen, Scott, you really spoke super words of wisdom, and and I enjoyed them. And you know what's funny? Because you're right. We met today. We have we have very similar backgrounds in a lot of aspects, but we come from different worlds and different places. But yet we have one mission that is very similar. We actually do this. Yeah, if it fills us for what we do, but also, our mission is to help others. And I do it for the sake of that. I mean, the money, and some people are like, well, you're in it for the money. I'm not in it for the money. The money will come. That's a whole different concept. And there's ways to do the money. And I have ways to make money, right? But really the purpose is to help people. To your point, if we can, you and I today drive 2-3 people to do their best and become better, whatever they're doing today. To me, I know that's going to happen. If it's not today, tomorrow, somebody's going to listen to the show eventually and they're going to get pumped. And I get a lot of downloads. I know you get a lot, and people are always getting, the feeds, and they enjoy it. Some people see that motivation, that inspiration, whatever. To your point, they can take both. They can get a mix. They can get one or the other. Doesn't matter, but they get something out of it. And that's actually the core of the why. The core is the want to, because we want to do this. And that when you want to do something and you love it, you're going to do the best you can, and you're going to do better than the best. But if you were not even into this, you probably would have stopped doing this 20 years ago. It's just as simple, but you're in it for the long run because it's fulfilling and it's serving. And there's nothing better. And I know that you are a leader and you're still a leader and you've had positions where you were doing that. I have that, but a true leader serves. And that's the other part, that some of the younger folks, that may just have a different perception about leadership and stuff. If you serve people, you are leading them, in the right way. You have to have the mentality of a servant when you're leading, and you can help people, because you talked about the game. That spirit that happened, those coaches and the mentors that they have, in there, they installed that in them. And of course they got that drive, and then they have a mission. And yes, that happens. But if, like to your point, if they were bashing them, hey, what are you doing? And even between them, if they have no synergy and they were all over the place, that wouldn't have happened. They want it bad, and they want to have it. They want to be in it, and that's it. You want to be in it to win it, as we state, right? So there's a lot of this stuff, and you're right. This world needs that. I think the past is the past, history is history, yes, and we do not want to repeat a lot of history because some of it is not really that cool. But really, it's today, here, now. We work. I mean, you're right. That's a great example. I mean, talking about brain surgery, and you're right. People. When COVID hit, it didn't happen. Everybody's the same. It's actually not even just in one country. In the whole world, is the same thing. It's like this alien just came into this earth, and everybody now is facing the same enemy and the same problem. And everybody came together. It just solves a lot of problems, right? And it's amazing that we can do that. And we all have to kind of embrace that concept. And then I hope that the majority of people may. I don't think everybody would. I wish that would be the best, thing that ever happens on this planet. But the idea is that the more people that come into this realm, the more people that embrace it, the better this world's going to be. And we just had to continue doing what we're doing. And I know there's a lot of people doing this. And, from this platform, I thank everyone that's out there helping and guiding. There's so many shows. I post motivational shows, clips all the time because they inspire me. And I live to those, and I share them because I want other people to get excited the same way I get excited. Now, is everybody that sees them going to get a kick out of them? Maybe. I don't know. But you put them out there, and hopefully they all get it.
That's where I say I don't get attached to it. I just, I work to put out as much good stuff as I can put out. And I trust that whoever's supposed to pick up their portion of it is going to get it.
Well, Scott, I mean, I don't want to stop this discussion. It's great. I mean, we're at the top of the hour right now. We're going to close our show, but what would be like maybe just a couple of, I know you've given us a lot of wisdom, so I'm not even, but if we want to close this with maybe a key advice to people that are watching or listening right now, what would be a couple of pieces of message that you want to send out?
Well, what I would suggest to everybody is no matter where you are or who you are, you're absolutely perfect as you are. The reality is you have been made for a time like this, just as we have. And I would simply encourage you to understand, I didn't say everything in life is perfect. And I didn't say, there's a pretty good book that says, all things work together for my good. It doesn't say all things are good. It doesn't say all things are easy. It doesn't even say all things are fun, but it says all things work together for my good. Wherever you are is perfect right now. As long as you observe where you are and say, I either like where I am and where I'm going, or I don't. And then make the appropriate decisions to do something about it. So, whether I've been selling for 45 years, for goodness sakes, or heck, even more if I do the math. I don't know that I want to do the math, but the reality is that, I should be decent at it. I should be pretty good at it, especially in comparison to somebody who's maybe been doing it 3 to 5 years. I mean, there's repetition is the mother of invention, right? So wherever you are is perfect at that time, but you don't have to stay there. You can educate yourself. You can watch shows like this. You can read books. You can surround yourself with people who want to encourage you and lift you up. And guess what? That's perfect too. The only thing that's not perfect is not taking action, is just going, well, it's going to show up. 99% of success is showing up, working at it. So again, wherever you are is perfect. You're okay. Calm down. If you don't believe that, send me an email, scott@scottschilling.com. And guess what I'm going to tell you? You're okay. It's all good. Now, can you get better? We all can. The reason I like doing this is because every time I do one of these, I get better. Well, if I've been doing this long and I can still get better, no matter where you are, you can get better. And that's the bottom line. You're perfect where you are, but now let's go from here and get even better. Quite frankly, you deserve it.
That's it. I'm not adding a word. That's it. Scott, I mean, really, Scott Schilling is giving me chills.
Awesome.
And guys, this is as powerful as you can get. And I mean, you hear it from the best here. And I just want everyone to really take it to next level. And I want to thank you, Scott, for being with us, and really a powerful, show today. And I'll have the link to your website, and it's, I think, on the screen right now.
That's right.
Scott Schilling Speaks, and actually
ScottSchillingSpeaks.com.
That's right. And you can watch the shows there. You can also check out the podcast. And you did say something though about books. Are they available also? There's a link.
Yeah, they'll be through ScottSchillingSpeaks.com.
Perfect. So folks, please
reach out to me. Say hi.
There you go. Well, thank you, Scott.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been great.
It's a true honor and a pleasure. Folks, thank you for watching the iHealth channel, the Sales World channel, and listening to iHealth Radio. Your host, Hurricane H here. We'll be talking soon. New day, new show, new topic, new guest. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.